Hey, good afternoon, Chandium friends, and welcome to this week's episode of Patio Ponderings. Today, my patio is the deck on my house. I'm recording a day early, so I'm working at home. So I'm so glad to be with you this week as we talk about this little tiny snippet of the story of a larger story called the exile in the Old Testament. And so I want to very quickly summarize for you what the exile was. What was that event? And so at the time of the exile, what was left of the people of God as a nation was centered in and around Jerusalem. And the Babylonians had surrounded that city and finally broke through its walls after 2 years of a presence there. And they scattered the people throughout the area. And in the story today, we hear a message from God through the prophet Jeremiah to those people that were resettled in a city in Babylon. And so I wonder if we can imagine what this must have been like for the people. To be living one life with all the hopes and dreams that people have for that life, family and work and children and things like that. And then to have it totally uprooted and destroyed, to be moved against your will to an entirely new place. How disorienting that must have felt for them. How despairing. Any of the hopes and dreams that they would have had for their lives would have come completely unraveled. And I'm sure they were left with just a ton of questions of how long they would be there. Would they survive? And I think the biggest question they likely had was, are they still people of God? Their connection to God, their identity as God's people was so tied to living in the city of Jerusalem that now that they're all scattered and not together as a people, does that identity unravel? And so as we think about this story and how Jeremiah comes to them with this message that what they need to do is settle down and make a life, to get married, to have children, to grow gardens, to do the things of life they normally do in this new and strange place. It's time for them to have new hopes and dreams. So have you ever had a time in your life in which your hopes and dreams have unraveled entirely or partly? Did you experience some of that uncertainty that the Israelites probably felt? And did you wonder, like the Israelites wondered, where is God in this? And I think what was particularly a challenge for the Israelites in this little piece of the story is that they don't have a vision into the greater story yet. They're still living it out. They don't know if God's going to stick with them. They don't know if God still loves them. They don't know if God has even claims them as God's people anymore. And so I'm wondering about you and your hopes and dreams that have unraveled and dissipated, about those times when your life has been turned upside down. And maybe you're going through one of those times right now. I'm wondering if you were able to see God in the midst of that, in that event that happened in your life. Or are you still living out the bigger story? Something to ponder. But the message is clear. As the exile does unfold, we find that God is indeed faithful to God's people. God continues to love his people. God shows grace to them. And after a while, God does bring them home. And they are a nation again, a people again, belonging to God. So I hope that in whatever you are going through these days, whatever hopes and dreams you're struggling to hang on to, or the new hopes and dreams that you're struggling to build, I hope that that is a word of hope for you. That whether you can see it now or whether you have to wait until the bigger story unfolds, know that God is indeed with you, and God loves you, and you are showered with God's grace. Have a blessed day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.